Welcome back to Sea Glass Archaeology, everybody. It's the middle of January and we have a break in all of the extreme weather we've been having out in Cape Breton Island, so we're gonna go to the shoreline. This is the first day my kids are back in school in over a month. It's also the first day in many months that I've actually been down to this beach. It's just been too hard to get here with all of the extreme wind and weather that we've been having. I'm so excited to see what we find, so without further avail, let's get out to the beach and see what's there. Okay everyone, this is extremely dangerous getting to the beach right now. You can see that the sedimentary bedrock is frozen. It's got ice all over it, except for that little puddle right over there. I had to slide down the embankment. So coming up to the first pile, I can already see that there's some sea glass. We got some right over here. And then we've got this beautiful shell right over here. And then look at this, this is a large piece. You know, it's aged about a 6 or a 7 out of 10. I'll take it because I got a lot of good use for it. Holy cow. And then look at this one right over here, everyone. Sorry about that. I picked it up and it kind of just lost its color when I was holding it in my gloves. So here it is right over here. It's well over 1 inch long. It's a nice thick piece of aqua. It's probably the base of an old bottle. It's a great find. And then look at this right over here. This is crazy. It's an Interact debit card that's been cut up. It's just so good to be out here, everybody. I am so happy to be out here right now. Be looking for little beautiful pieces of sea glass, looking for big pieces of sea glass. It's just been far too long since we've been to this wonderful spot. You know, sometimes in my life, this beach just gets closed down either by seaweed or by high wind. And today we are very fortunate that we're able to get down. And I really hope, oh, that one was pretty rough there. That one almost got me. Okay. Do a few more pushes around here and there. See if we can come up with anything over here. Oh, here's a piece of green right over here. And then there's another piece of green right over here. And then if you look right over here, you can see a beautiful piece of yellow. That is awesome. Okay, so it's not that big. Whoa, 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 whoa. Okay, I didn't lose it, everyone. I didn't lose the tablet, but I just got super soaked. The tide absolutely is pushing up, and it was not coming anywhere near as high as I just was. That is just nuts. My boots are filled with water. But let's get back to this beautiful piece over here, because now my time is absolutely numbered in here as it's below 0, and I'm wet. So this is a beautiful piece of yellow sea glass. It's really well aged. It's a little bit under ½ an inch. And if you've watched my videos before, you've seen me find some really big, thick yellow pieces out here that I've matched to a lighthouse lens. This one over here, I believe might actually be a piece of tableware. And it's kind of neat because I have a piece in my collection, and when we get home, I'm going to share it with you. It's a big piece of blue, everyone. Oh, nice. Oh, I'm so happy I just found this. But you know what? I'm actually a little surprised that I never found this piece before in all of my time of making these videos. So check this out right over here, everybody. I got to make sure that I have it in focus. You can see that it's an M and there's a circle around it. But I guess if you didn't know any better, you might think that it's a W with a circle around it. So this originates from the Maryland Glass Corporation. Now that's not a name that I think that you might have heard of before, but when I say the Emerson Drug Company, I'm thinking that's a name that you might have heard of because Isaac Emerson, he had a store in Baltimore in the 1890s. He invented Bromo seltzer, and by the turn of the century, it was an extremely popular remedy for headaches. So what happened was around, I'd say around 1907, I think it was, he started his own glass factory because the other companies that he was using and employing couldn't keep up with the demand he had for these little Bromo seltzer bottles. So when I find an M like this on a blue piece, I can almost guarantee that it's from a Bromo seltzer. I can guarantee that it's from the Maryland Glass Corporation and Isaac Emerson himself. There's a chance actually that you can find this M right over here on pieces of glass that aren't cobalt blue, because I believe that the Maryland Glass Factory actually made a whole bunch of different colors and styles styles of glassware. I actually believe that they made the Evening in Paris or the Midnight in Paris perfumes. So it's kind of wild to think that the Midnight in Paris perfume was actually made in North America. I wonder how many people actually bought it thinking it was a French perfume. I hope I didn't just spoil it for you now, everyone. I got about a quarter pound of glass so far, everybody. We made a few great finds. Let's keep on digging and see what's in this pile. Oh, look at this. Piece of blue right over here, everybody. It's not that big, but I'm gonna take it. Piece of scrap metal, we're taking that too. Yeah, it's a marble, everybody. Check it out. Yeah, guys, it is a marble. Look at this right over here. Okay, so it looks like a little bit of a pillow. You can see it's flat on one side. And you know this, I'm really glad that I just found this marble, because on the last video, there were a few questions from some new subscribers and some new viewers, and they were wondering how come I find so many of these marbles out my way. And it's kind of neat because, you know, over the past 13 years, I've done a lot of research and a lot of studying of how water and how debris enters the ocean. And to put it really, really shortly, these marbles entered the oceans through storm sewers and drain sewers. You know, this past summer, I gave a speech virtually at the PEI Sea Glass Festival on marbles, washboards, and bonfire glass, and what it means when you find them or don't find them out your way. I never posted the video to the channel because I really didn't think everybody wanted to see a video where I'm just sitting there talking for 10 minutes. But if you want to see these videos, I'll be happy to share them to my channel. Please let me know down below in the comments and I'll be happy to post them. Another way that a lot of these marbles actually entered into the ocean was via slingshot ammunition. I have a neighbor, and when I first moved here in 2008, I used to do a lot of yard work with him, and he told me the story about how all the kids on this beach that I'm hanging out in had a slingshot in their back pocket, and the marble was the choice ammunition. You know, I'm a member of a few marble collector guilds on Facebook as well, and you'll see that people can put pictures of their marble and ask if it's valuable and rare, and when it's not rare, people commonly just say it's slingshot ammunition. Slingshot ammunition means it's not valuable. So there's two different ways that they ended up out here, but over my studies over the years, I've just learned that it's the storm sewers and the drain sewers that put so many of these marbles into the ocean. Okay, now check this out, everyone. It looks like it's a super well-aged piece of black glass. I can't get any color through it, so I'm really not sure if it's a rock or not. I'm gonna bring it home. We're gonna find out together. Whoa. Okay, we're gonna find out together. You can hear that that tide is creeping up on me, but this is huge. This is a really thick piece. And like I said, I just can't get any color through it, but I'm pretty sure that this is actually a piece of old black pirate glass. And now check out this beautiful piece of pink ceramic tile, everybody. This is something that I find a lot out my way. It's got that honeycomb pattern, and you can see that it's got the adhesive on the back. I find a lot of them just because they were used in mass. I don't know what this was originally from. I'd imagine maybe this was a tile from like a bathroom around the turn of the century. I've seen quite a few houses where pink was the motif in the bathroom, so there's a chance that that's where this is from. And it's amazing because I'm filming this right now, and then I looked over, and in the same high tide mark, you can see that there's another piece of the tile. This one's the absolute edge over here. It's gonna have the same spot on the back. And over the years, I have just been finding hundreds, if not thousands, of these pieces right over here. Sometimes they have white slip, which means that the glaze, the little coloring on the top, sometimes it's white. Occasionally it's white with blue, and I even find it in black as well, but pink is without a doubt my favorite. I love to use these as bases for my sculptures. I am getting wet, everyone. I'm already wet, so it really doesn't matter, hey? Oh, look at this. Yeah, look at this, everyone. Okay, so I just found a really, really nice piece of aqua blue sea glass. You can see it right over here, everybody. but I gotta hold it on this side, and then maybe you can see it a little differently here. I don't know how I'm gonna get this one so that you can see it. Okay, so this is a hard one to get into focus, everybody, but hopefully you can see it right over here. You know, this is a really well-aged piece of aqua seafoam. It's centuries aged, as I'd say. And right over here, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a little bit of an orange streak in it. Now, I found pieces in the past that are just like this, and I've talked about how what happened was little pieces of iron flux got into the glass batch in the glass house, and then it created these little streaks as it was inside of the molding. So when you find a piece of glass that has these little streaks in it, it's almost a guarantee that they were made before the bottle automation process of about 1910. And when I find a piece that's thin like this, I usually figure that it's actually from an old medicine bottle as opposed to like a soda or a spirits bottle. Let me get that other piece that we found a while back, and I'm going to do a little bit of a comparison here to kind of show the difference. Okay, that took me a few minutes to fish it out of the bag because my fingers are cold. So you can see I have the two pieces right over here, and they almost look like they're the same color, but when I flip them over, you can really see the size difference from one to the other. So that's why I kind of figured this one over here would be from a medicine bottle, because a lot of the soda water bottles from the turn of the century, the pressure was under content, and these bottles tended to be a lot thicker. So that's kind of where I feel that this piece right over here is from a soda water bottle that's maybe about 120 years old, and then this piece right over here would be from like a square or flat paneled medicine bottle that was probably made around 1880 to 1890. It's kind of neat. They're really great finds. I got them both. They're coming home with me, everybody. This is exciting. I'm gonna get right back out there because I am getting really, really cold, really fast. As you may or may not know, that you get colder about 20 times faster when you're wet as opposed to when you're dry. So it's really a shame that I got wet. My feet are starting to go numb, but I'm not gonna miss out on this opportunity. It's been far too long since we've been at the beach. You can see right over here, if you've watched a bunch of my older videos, this is the rock that me and my children like to sit on, we get changed on, we just relax on, and it's absolutely covered in rocks and sand. So to me, that's a term that I call high pile. And what that means is this beach is in a high pile. A lot of the good sea glass that we look for is underneath these rocks, but there's still a lot of stuff for us to look through. And oh my gosh, look right over there. I'm so glad I'm not looking through the viewfinder. There is a super thick piece of gray right over here, everyone. Do you see it? Absolutely huge, aged to perfection. See, a piece like this, I'm gonna have to assume, comes from an old floor Model TV. Now, in the past, we've discussed on a few of the videos about how these pieces originated from old floor Model TVs and not wet battery jars. Although some gray glass does originate from wet battery jars, it typically was a lot thinner than this one over here. This past summer, a lot of people stopped by my Sea Glass shanty, and some of them even brought their favorite finds in hopes that I could help identify them. Luckily, a couple brought a piece that originates from an old glass battery jar, and I was definitively able to match it. I want to share it with you right now. So here's that shard, which I strongly believe comes from an old wet battery jar. I'm going to show you the picture again real quickly, just as a refresher. So we can see from the photo that this piece right over here would have been where the metal went inside the glass casing. It's got a little bit of threading over there as well. And there would have been two of these, one on each side, one for positive and one for negative flow. And we can also see that it's got a little bit of a beveled edge over here and it comes up. I'm so glad that they brought this in. I hope everybody enjoyed seeing that shard. Let's get back to the hunt. Ooh, look at this right over here. We got this. So we got this amber brown, we got a nice blue, and we got another amber brown right over here. Oh, another piece of clear. That's okay, I'll take it. Oh, look at this right over here, everyone. So this is hard to do with this glove on, everybody. Give me a sec, I'm gonna take it off. Okay, that's much better. Now I can get the focus going and you can see what I just found. So this right over here is absolutely a piece of melt glass, and it has to be a handle. This piece over here was probably made by a company like Fire King, which was Anchor Hawking glassware, and was really, really common in the mid part of the 20th century. There's a lot of people out there that collect melt glass, and it's wild to think that tin is the element that gets put into glass to give it this kind of a coloring. So my gosh, everybody. I just saw the biggest sea glass I've ever seen on this beach in my life. And now I lost it. Okay, here it is. Here it is. I had to go get the camera. Check out this, everybody. Oh my gosh, is this a doorknob? Is this gonna be a doorknob? You know what? I don't know if this was actually a doorknob, but look at it. It's almost the size of a hockey puck, or maybe a mini hockey puck. It's huge. Like, I'd say it's about 1.5 to 2 inches across. It's almost 1 inch thick. You know what this could be? This could be the bottom of a fluted Pilsner bottle, now that I think about it. I'm not 100% sure. I am just so amazed at this piece right over here, everybody. It is super thick, super well aged. It's probably been in the ocean for about a century. This might be one of the thickest, largest pieces that I've ever found in my life. It's so cold out here. I'm so glad that I'm toughing it out. I'm so glad that I'm making these finds, because all I'm thinking about right now is a nice hot cup of tea and my nice hot cold house. I say it's a hot cold house because it has no foundation, and in the winter, some days it's hard to get it above 14 degrees Celsius. Check it out, everyone. You can see that the salt water just sprays in off of the ocean with these pounding waves, and it just covers the huge pieces of armor rock that are used to safeguard the area. It's wild. Every single winter when this happens, it becomes extremely slick and dangerous, but it's still worth it to come down here and look for treasures. Check out this bright piece of ceramic, everybody. It's a nice yellow find. You know, it's not as nice as the yellow piece of sea glass that I found earlier, but I guess this is nature's way of telling me it's time to show that piece of glass tableware that I haven't showed anybody yet. If I'm finding this over here, and this was probably a plate or a cup, I'm gonna have to imagine that it was a plate because it's typically pretty flat, and a cup would have been a little bit more rounded. Take a look at this nicely aged, soft piece of aqua seafoam colored sea glass, everybody. It's got a few little lines, one right on the outside and one right over here. It's just enough of a marking that I can match this to an old antique glass washboard. It's kind of wild that I found this piece, and I was just mentioning about how I gave a speech about what washboard pieces mean when you find them out your way. So I'll just give you a little bit of a summary. What it means is that people were discarding into your oceans and your beaches well into the 20th century. You're not going to find a piece like this on a beach that people were kind of like partying on a public beach, but you're definitely going to find this on a beach that was used for rubbish disposal or near a rubbish tip. It's going to be time for the weigh-in now, everybody. We're back at home. I figure that there's about 1 pound here, although a fair bit of it is going to be the large piece of sea glass, that round hockey puck, some shells, and ceramic shards. So we got 14 ounces, 0.6, which is just under 1 pound, 413 grams. And now what's more fun is we're going to take it and we're going to put it out on the tray and see what it looks like. So here we go. So I took a few moments there and I separated out all of the sea glass and the shells and the ceramic shards as well. And you can see that there actually is a fair amount over here. It's just not what you're used to seeing on some of my other trips when we go to towns such as Glace Bay or we go to North Sydney. And the reason for that being the population. Not as many people lived in the area where I hunt sea glass in comparison to those other places. So if you think about the population only being at about 20–25%, then this is pretty much what we would expect to see. Because we've got the scale out, I'm going to take this puck and see how much it weighed. Look at that. It weighs exactly 2 ounces, 56 grams. This thing is absolutely massive. And I don't want to say it's the largest piece of sea glass that I've ever found, but it's the nicest aged piece of large sea glass that I've ever found. It's absolutely stellar. And I hope my kids don't see it, or they might try and use it as a hockey puck. So here's that beautiful bright piece of yellow sea glass that we found on the beach. First off, I wanted to put a piece from a lighthouse lens right next to it, and you can really see the color difference from one to the other. This one here is really a golden yellow honey, and then this one over here is a little bit brighter. It's more like a citron. Now what I wanted to share with you was this vessel right over here. Let me get it into focus. So here it is. This is a beautiful piece of glass tableware that I salvaged out of the garbage a long time ago, as I'm a scavenger, and you can see that it was made in Mexico, and the color of this piece of glass right over here is very similar to this right over here, you could almost say that it's a perfect match if I actually don't put the shadow in the way. And it's absolutely the right thickness as well compared to one of these pieces. It's wild because when I first moved here, I'd go through heavy garbage pickup and I found so many unique pieces of glassware, and I just threw them into my storage shed, and now I get to use them in my sea glass history. I thought it would be a lot of fun if we did a bottle comparison for these two aqua shards right over here. So I've got my 3 candidates that I wanted to share with you right here on the table. So this is the patient medicine bottle. We can see that it's nice and flat, and that's why I assume that a piece like this probably comes from one of these type of bottles. And then over here, we have this piece, which is a lot thicker, and it's got a little bit of a curvature to it. So it could either be from like an early turn of the century soda water bottle, or it could be from a late 1800s whiskey flask. Both of these bottles look like they'd be an absolute perfect match for a shard like this one over here. So if you find it out your way, hopefully this helps you understand where they come from. So I've got that piece over here that I wasn't sure if it was glass or a rock. So I brought it home, and with all of the lights that I have, I'm not able to shine anything through it. However, I'm still confident that this is a really, really old, well-aged piece of glass. You can almost see when I move it right over there, there's a little bit of a shine, like a little bit of a sparkle. And I know that this isn't obsidian because I've come across a lot of obsidian in my life. So I'm fairly certain that this is a piece of old black pirate glass. It might even be from before the age of piracy, as people were visiting my area in the early 1500s. You know, a piece like this is probably really rich in iron because they put a lot of iron in glass back then because it made it stronger and more durable. It actually created this really, really black coloring to it as well. So without a doubt, this one's going to go into my black sea glass collection, and who knows how long it's been lost in the shoreline for. You know, I didn't realize how blurry it was when we were out on the shorelines and I was sharing that piece from the old washboard, so I figured I'd share with you right now what it looks like where it's not blurry, and then also show you what it looks like next to this glass washboard right over here. You know, just for a fun treat, and we were talking about how much glass one washboard produces, I've got my small half-size washboard right here, and what we're going to do is we're going to put it on the scale and see how much it actually produces. Okay, so we got the scale zeroed out, and we're going to see that the small washboard weighs a little over 2 pounds. So even if we assume that the wooden frame weighs about half of this, so it's about 1 pound, this is 1 pound of glass, and that's from just a small washboard. Now for an extra treat, what I have is I have my large washboard here, so I'm going to grab it, try not to break it as you can hear. So now I'm going to take the large washboard and we're going to put it on right over here. And now this one weighs about 4.5 pounds. So if half of the weight is glass, that would mean that 2 pounds of glass enters the ocean every time one of these was discarded. So if you had a town of like 20,000 people in it, that would mean that everybody would have been throwing away their washboards around the end of World War II. And that makes a lot of glass from this one artifact. Well, everyone, it was a fantastic day, but that's going to be about it. I'm absolutely soaked and frozen. I can't wait to get home, warm up, make a nice pot of green tea, and check out all these finds. So thank you so much for watching. Thanks for all of your love, your positive support, and your comments. It means the world to me to share my adventures with you, to share my finds, and to share the knowledge. I'm so glad to know that you appreciate it. So hopefully we're back out here again real soon. Today was a great day. So I'm so glad that we had that adventure yesterday. Take a look at this. Wow. And this is low tide right now. It's the very next day. The winds were about 100 kilometers last night overnight. So I'm really happy we had that adventure.